zombie-free showers and espresso machines. Plus, I was still pining over poor deceased quarterback Chris. Just kidding, quarterback Chris had apparently been less than faithful to me during our 2-year relationship, and after things with the government, army, and general world went to hell, quarterback Chris tried to eat me. So I did what any loving, devoted girlfriend that just found out she had been serially cheated on by her now zombie boyfriend would do. I plunged a butcher knife into his eye socket, and when that didn't effectively do the job, I drove over him with my mom's Escalade until his head detached from his body. God, I was glad I held on to my V card. Could you imagine me as a zombie? Ugh, it made me shudder just thinking about it. A rustling to my left had my gun up, pointed and steady at whatever was stupid enough to make noise in a regular feeder playground. I only had 3 bullets left, so this kill would have to be spot on. That was the thing about living in a world in which it was a very likely possibility that you could end up as someone else's meal before lunchtime. You've got to be very good at shooting. Very quickly. So even though the most I knew about my gun was that it was a Beretta from the label on the handle, and the exact kind of bullets it took, 40-aught S&W, because those were an absolute necessity and I was always on the lookout, I knew exactly how to use it. I knew exactly how to get my bullet from my gun to the perfect dead zone right between the eyes. In fact, it was kind of freaky how good I was at killing things. Well, killing already dead things. It was like I was born for the apocalypse. No, I couldn't find a hot shower, figure out how to make food last longer than 24 hours, and effectively loot a Walgreens that still had hair products available. But I could stay alive. I had an innate ability to stay alive. And in this day and age, 92 weeks after the first recovering STD victim bit his doctor and the world fell apart, staying alive was very important. Back to the rustling. I slowed my breathing, stopped moving completely, and waited for the sound to come to me. One of the first things I learned about survival was that there was absolutely no need to go hunting down trouble. In the world I lived in, trouble would find you soon enough. It was better to cover your back, stay calm, and have a loaded weapon ready and waiting. "Reagan, check this out!" Haley squealed in a loud whisper. "Holy hell, Hales!" I whisper-shouted back. "I almost shot you in the effing head!" She made a resigned grunting noise, and I heard her mumble, "Too bad. I bet they have showers in heaven." "We are so not convinced you're going to heaven," I whispered back while stepping over a particularly decayed body. Did I say the smell was the worst? I meant maggots. The maggots were definitely the worst. "It wouldn't matter," she countered with that distraught, depressed tone even the best of us were known to fall into. This might as well be hell. We were still whispering. There was no other option, since feeders were drawn by sound, and sight, and smell, and light, and movement. But since we were rummaging around a dilapidated department store somewhere in what used to be southern Missouri, we had a little bit of cover. The floor was covered with dirt and grime. Metal racks that had been looted a long time ago were scattered and broken across the floor. And we've already discussed the body count problem. We were using what was left of the evening light streaming through the broken window fronts to see, and from the sounds of things we were alone, at least on the first floor. One of the best things about feeders was their incapability for stealth. They were heavy mouth breathers and tended to stumble over anything in their way. It was like they had their own warning bells. Well, if you stayed alert, kept yourself surrounded by noisy debris, and never fell asleep, you could sense their presence. "What is it?" I asked at the exact same moment my stomach growled. Haley shot me a sympathetic look and shook her head, sending her dark blonde hair bouncing around her shoulders. "Not that." I sighed, but continued to follow her down a dark hallway. Track lighting hung at awkward angles, the glass long shattered, the bulbs broken since the beginning. The once white walls were smeared with streaks of what I had to assume was blood and dirt. But the stench was less overwhelming here, the air easier to breathe. "I hit the jackpot," Haley said excitedly in almost a full voice.